This is the Berman Method podcast featuring Dr. Jake Berman and physician assistant Jenni Berman. We are here to treat problems and not symptoms. Disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and not to treat anyone or to give medical advice. If you are interested in any information that we are giving and would like to use this for yourself, we recommend that you contact your primary care physician or reach out to us and ask us questions about yourself specifically. Enjoy.
And we're back, baby. The Berman Method podcast, where we're focused on treating problems and not symptoms. Don't take that Advil for your back pain. Figure out why your back is hurting in the first place, right?
That's right. Figure out the problem.
Dr. Jake Berman here.
And I'm Jenni Berman, physician assistant. You didn't introduce me.
I was switching it up on you. I got to keep you guessing.
Guess what? This is Jake's birthday week.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Birthday. It's your birthday. And we listened to that song 10,000 times on the boat this weekend. So everybody on Wednesday wish Dr. Jake Berman a happy birthday.
But more importantly, if you really care about me,
bring him some cookies.
Soft chocolate chip cookies.
And I will just cringe as he eats 36 cookies over the next 5 days.
But that's really relevant for what you're going to talk about today.
Yes, we're going to be talking about not all, but some of the different types of meal plans that are out there, and maybe what some people will call fad diets that have happened, and what is really the best thing for us in general.
Okay, so a bunch of different diets, including the seafood diet.
That's your diet.
That is my diet. If anybody doesn't know what the seafood diet is, it has nothing to do with seafood.
Yeah, because you don't even eat seafood, really. He's like really posh about his seafood. Will only eat the seafood if he catches it, like fish.
Yeah.
If you catch the fish, you'll eat it.
If I catch it, I'll eat it, but I'm not ordering it from a restaurant.
Yeah.
Usually
not.
Not happening.
Or from the grocery store.
Absolutely not. Oh my gosh. When we first started dating, Jenni would bring home this frozen tilapia.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes,
it was shrimp. I never bought frozen fish because we didn't grow up eating fish in my house. My mom doesn't really like fish. She hates salmon. And we did not grow up eating fish in the house other than if we went out to sushi, we would get fish there. But we ate shrimp at home. And so I would, when we first started dating, I would bring home frozen shrimp.
Oh, I'm like, this is bait. This is bait. You understand you're trying to feed me bait right now.
Don't hurt people's feelings. Sometimes it's all they can afford is the frozen shrimp, okay? So, anyways, that wasn't the point of this conversation.
The point is the seafood diet.
The seafood diet.
The seafood diet is what I live my life by, and it's essentially I see food and I eat it.
That's right. Whatever he sees, he eats, including a bunch of sugar, which is not recommended for your brain.
No, it's really not. And I joke, for complete transparency, this is supposed to be valuable information that we're putting out there, and I say it a lot on here in a jokingly way. And I just want everybody to know that I used to have a really big cookie problem, and I still do. However, I'm trying to actively not be as bad as I used to be, because sugar really is the devil. I mean, it is the absolute worst thing that you can put into your body, and I understand that.
You do. You're much more controlled.
Yes.
We should say that. And now I make sugar-free, grain-free cookies that will help to take place of your other cookies.
Yes.
So sugar it's not the eggs, it's not the fat, it's not the bread, the carbohydrates, which, I mean, that's another topic. But sugar is what's going to kill us for everybody. It's what can increase the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia, increase the risk of cancer cells developing and multiplying. It is what will cause our kidneys to stop functioning as well as they should, fatty liver disease, diabetes. Sugar is not good for our body. And with that being said, I did just mention it's not the bread, but really white grains, even wheat grains in general, carbohydrates turn to sugar if we're not utilizing them. So it's not that carbohydrates are bad for us if we have the muscle mass and the activity level to support it, but majority of Americans do not. And so carbohydrates, if we're not utilizing them through activity and muscle mass, they turn to sugar. And again, sugar is the devil for us. So with that being said,
that was a really bright way to start this podcast. So we're off to a good start.
Everybody's having a great Monday, and don't feel bad for what you just ate over the weekend. It's okay. Because life is about balance. Just know today is Monday and you can change. So I did want to talk about some of the meal plans or diets, fad diets that you may call them. Some of them being like the Atkins diet, the keto diet, the Paleo diet. What is the right diet?
Fasting.
Intermittent fasting. We'll kind of touch on that. So to kind of go over the differences of these types of diets that are out there, the Atkins diet was known to be low in saturated fats, which is a bad fat, but also low in carbohydrates. And then we have the keto diet, which is extremely low in carbohydrates and high fat. And the thing that we need to know about the keto diet is it does work for a lot of people for weight loss because we've reduced the sugar intake, we've reduced the carbohydrate intake, which remember carbs turn to sugar. We've reduced all that, and we're utilizing fats and protein for our energy stores, which does work for many people short term. However, if we are not utilizing the right types of fats for our body, this can cause adverse effects. So we can get some weight gain back because our body can only metabolize so much fat if we are not increasing muscle mass and staying active. But also, if we're not using the right types of fats, it really can injure our cholesterol, our arteries, our liver function, because saturated fat is the bad fat. It's unhealthy, not a good type of fat. So things like bacon, red meat, coconut oil, processed oils, fried foods, even though those fall into the keto plan, because with the exception of fried foods are low carbohydrate, they over long term can actually increase our cholesterol values. So that's the keto. Yes, it works for a lot of people, but we need to know how we're using the keto diet and making sure we're eating the right types of fats in the keto diet and really still maintaining adequate protein in the diet. So that's keto.
Okay.
So we've talked about Atkins, which I didn't really dive too much into Atkins other than saying, it was a short-lived kind of prepped meal plan where you just bought their stuff, ate their stuff. But again, it's not enough balance for the body, in my opinion. Keto diet. We have the Paleo diet, which I would say the recommendations that we make at Berman Health Wellness, generally speaking, because we do personalized meal plans to every individual, but generally speaking, we are probably a good mix between Paleo diet and Mediterranean style diet. Paleo means that we are avoiding sugar, typically reducing or avoiding dairy within the Paleo diet. It avoids dairy and grains. And the positive thing behind that is that it is low inflammatory, anti-inflammatory, because generally speaking, dairy and grains, gluten, wheat are going to be more inflammatory type foods. And so if we're avoiding them or limiting them, it does overall reduce a lot of inflammation in the body. Sure, dairy is really helpful for a good, adequate protein and calcium in our body, and not everybody is sensitive to dairy. So it's fine to utilize and in certain individuals. But going back to the paleo diet, it is a dairy-free, grain-free meal plan, relying on more whole foods. So proteins, meats, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds. So it has a good balance between the amount of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, as long as the individual knows how to balance those, what we call macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, for their body specifically. The paleo diet doesn't say, okay, you can eat this many carbs, this many fat, this many protein. It's just more about focusing on the whole foods and reducing inflammation as a whole by avoiding the grains and the dairy products, generally speaking.
Got it.
Then we have Mediterranean style diet, which is more, again, the whole foods, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean proteins, but more towards the fish side of proteins, really limiting poultry. Poultry is allowed in the Mediterranean style diet, but it's more limited. Red meat is a no-no, so we avoid red meat. The Mediterranean style diet is actually pretty low in sodium, and so it's one of the diets that a lot of cardiologists, heart doctors will recommend because it is low in sodium and also pretty low in saturated fats, which is the bad fats of the diet, since we're not having any of the red meat or high salty foods. So there's Mediterranean style. What other ones?
Fasting. Talk about intermittent fasting.
We get a ton of questions on intermittent fasting. Every time I do a seminar out in public, to different communities or gyms, I get questioned about intermittent fasting. And, it really has to go on a person-to-person basis. However, I typically do not recommend the 16-hour fast time with the 8-hour eating window time. And the reason for that is because for a lot of individuals, that 16-hour fast time, so that means you're not eating or drinking anything except for water between dinner and the next meal of the day, 16 hours later. So, a lot of people will do like a 12 to 8 eating window. Their first meal of the day will be at noon. Their last meal of the day will be at 8 p.m. And then they don't eat or drink anything except for water from 8 p.m. to noon the next day.
Can you drink coffee too? Black coffee?
Black coffee only. No cream, no sugar, nothing in it, just black coffee.
So these people are going 16 hours only consuming water and or black coffee.
Correct.
Okay.
And 16 hours is a very long time for blood sugar stability. So when we're talking about blood sugar stability, what this means is we want our blood sugar to stay at a level rate, ideally somewhere between that 70 to 90 is kind of the goal of maintaining when we're not eating. 16 hours is a very long time for the body to be able to maintain that blood sugar. What happens when we don't maintain our blood sugar? If the blood sugar starts to fall, the body will try to respond for that and bring the blood sugar back up to normal if we don't eat and help bring it up. So we will start releasing insulin. We will start storing fuel as sugar so that the body can actually have sugar stored to stabilize blood sugar. And the combination of these things is overall, over time, not good for our kidneys, not good for the pancreas, and can actually lead to what we call insulin resistance, where the body stops metabolizing efficiently and is rather storing food as sugar to try to stabilize energy stores. So 16 hours is a very long time to keep the blood sugar from dipping down and from keeping the body to have to restabilize the blood sugar on its own. The other thing is during the day when we do have insulin resistance, meaning we're not processing our food efficiently for energy, we need protein during the day to help with not only stabilizing blood sugar during the day, but allowing that blood sugar stability through night. So if we're only eating in an 8-hour window, majority of the time we're not eating enough in that 8-hour window to stabilize blood sugar for the next 16 hours.
So let's say it again, maybe in different words. There's a certain amount of protein that your body needs every single day.
Correct.
Right. And when you are only eating in an 8-hour window, it is really hard to consume and utilize the proper amount of protein, because what you've said multiple times throughout this podcast is you generally cannot process more than 30 grams of protein in a serving, right?
40 grams in a serving, right?
40 in a serving, sorry.
You're not going to metabolize and utilize more than 40 grams of protein in a serving.
So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to eat for the next 8 hours, and because how much protein are you supposed to consume in general?
It depends on the individual. You're different than me. So you being 6'1", I don't know how much you weigh, but 181, working out on a regular basis with lean muscle mass, you're close to 160, 180 grams of protein a day. But that's for someone who exercises you're probably closer to 180. Exercises regularly, has lean muscle mass. I eat way more protein than a general female my size, but it's again because of the amount of lean muscle mass. So, generally speaking...
Hold on, let me interrupt you, because I think it's important to understand what we're saying right now, because me, for example... If I only have an 8-hour window, so my first meal is at 12 noon and the last meal is at 8, and I have to consume 160 grams of protein, but I can only metabolize 40 in a sitting, how many times do I have to eat 40 grams of protein in that 8-hour period?
Well, it's not possible, because a sitting is technically 2 hours. So your body's only going to metabolize about 40 grams of protein in a 2-hour span. So you would never make it, and as an intermittent fasting individual. Versus, there are some people who only need about 90 grams of protein for their body, for their size, for their activity level. They only need 90 grams. Majority of our clients will eat somewhere between 100 to 140 grams of protein. So certainly there's a wide range depending on the individual, their age, their activity level, their kidney function, whatever. But even still, if your goal is 100 grams of protein, it's very challenging to get the adequate protein in an 8-hour period.
Got it.
And, that's important. 8 hours is typically not long enough period to get all of our food in, but also it's the 16-hour time frame of having to stabilize our blood sugar that is most difficult for a lot of individuals.
Got it.
Now, some people will say, oh, I do intermittent fasting and it worked great for me. And again, it's because of the strict time restriction. You're not eating things in that 8-hour period that you'd normally be eating. So you're not eating snacks after dinner. You're not eating the desserts or the wine, or you're not putting cream in your coffee first thing in the morning because you can only have black coffee. So you're really actually cutting out the extra calories and sugars that are not necessary. It's not necessarily the fasting time itself.
Got it.
That's most beneficial.
Got it. So are those all the ones that we're going to talk about? Because I think I have a good analogy.
Okay, sure.
It sounds to me like diets are a lot like underwear.
Okay.
Meaning that one style of underwear is not going to be appropriate for everybody.
Agreed.
You go into any underwear department and there are countless styles of underwear, right?
Agreed.
So one style works great for you, but it's not going to work great for me.
100%.
You're not going to catch me walking around in your underwear.
I'm glad. I probably wouldn't have married you if you were.
So we're not trying to say intermittent fasting doesn't work. Paleo doesn't work. Mediterranean doesn't work. What you are trying to say is, let's take a little bit from this one and a little bit from that one and kind of come up with this plan that works really good for you. So me, for example, my underwear drawer has variety in it. There's 4 different styles of underwear because I got one pair that I wear when I have to cycle. I got another pair that I'm going to wear when I go to the gym and not cycle. I got another pair that I wear for my work day. Mm-hmm. I got another pair to wear when I'm out doing yard work. These are all different styles.
Right, right.
So if we can just take a little bit from a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one, and come up with the best plan for us. And I think what this is alluding to is it's not a diet that we're talking about.
100%. Yes. Thank you for going there. It is a total lifestyle. You have to work with what is going to be best for your body from the inside out, which is why in our practice, we look at your entire medical history. We look at your childhood to adult life. We look at blood work and really analyze what's going on from the inside out. What does your gut look like? Because that's really important. And then we're able to figure out what is going to be the best for each individual lifestyle wise, meal plan wise, figuring out a meal plan that you're going to be able to do and maintain, reaching your goals and maintaining your goals for life so that you can live the healthiest and highest quality of life imaginable. And so to kind of summarize where I would go is, yes, it has to be personalized and it has to be a little bit of everything. There's not one specific thing that's going to work for each body. And we need to have that balance. We need to have the ability to day-to-day change to provide the metabolism what it needs. And as far as the fasting goes, we'll usually recommend a 12 to 14 hour fast time because that's a proper time for insulin to reset. It's enough time for blood sugar to be stabilized and stay stabilized for most individuals. There are some who only fast 10 hours. There are some that fast 14 or 15, but that's more of a general market. It has to be personalized.
Am I a 10-hour faster?
You don't eat before you go to the gym, so you're probably a little longer than...
Yeah, but there's aminos in my water, so doesn't that count?
Aminos, if they're sugar-free and caffeine-free, which yours aren't caffeine-free, but then generally it would not spike your blood sugar. You're probably technically a 10-hour, but closer to 11 with eating breakfast.
Okay.
So...
All right.
And, it depends on body mass, muscle mass, activity level, but doing as much as you can anti-inflammatory, maintaining the right amount of protein for your body, balancing the carbohydrates for your activity level and the amount of muscle mass you have, and making sure you're getting quality fats, the right types of fats. That's going to be the important keys. And finding the right numbers, the right macros for your body.
Yep.
Not a one size fits all.
All of that is extremely valuable. And I think my layman's words of saying, or my interpretation of what you're saying is, because it's a lifestyle change and it's not a diet, we're making cognizant decisions, meaning that when I look at fruit, I see sugar. I don't see fruit. But if I'm going to eat fruit, I make a very diligent effort to make sure that I'm consuming protein with the fruit. For example, I can't tell you how many times you probably hear it way more than me, where somebody says that they eat fruit, oatmeal, and a slice of bread with peanut butter on it for breakfast.
Right.
And I'm going, sugar, sugar, sugar with some sugar on top of it, and a gram and a half of protein from the peanut butter.
Right. A touch of fat and a little protein.
Yeah. And that's crazy because it sounds like it's healthy. I'm doing air quotes right now because if you look at your pyramid, these are the things that Western medicine said, these are healthy. This is what you should eat for breakfast. And it could be if you had 3 eggs and a slice of turkey bacon that went with it, because you got to have the protein to counteract the sugar that you're consuming.
Right.
That's why I always, always, always eat a ton of venison when I'm going to have 48 cookies because I'm balancing it out. Oh my gosh, her eyes are rolling back in her head right now.
I'm on calories. But it's true. Protein helps to stabilize blood sugar. Protein helps to break down sugar. Protein helps to metabolize sugar. So certainly if you are going to have fruit is sugar. It is sugar. There's no other way around it. Though it has antioxidants, which are good for us, at the end of the day, it's sugar. So we have to have the protein to balance that, whether it's a protein shake or Greek yogurt or the eggs with the turkey bacon, some type of protein at all times to balance sugar.
And now the counter to it is dinner. When I look at a glass of delicious red wine, I see a glass of sugar. Like I don't see it as wine anymore. I see, that's a glass of sugar.
Right.
Like I can either eat a cookie or I can have a half a glass of wine.
Right.
Which is okay, because again, it's in moderation, right? We're not saying we're not being strict. You just have to be cognizant on what you are doing yourself. And if you are being very cognizant and saying, I know that I'm drinking a glass full of sugar right now, and I'm going to do it anyways, it's no different from me saying, I know that I'm about to demolish 15 cookies in 48 seconds, but I'm making the decision cognitively versus ignorantly, meaning that I think I'm being healthy right now, but you're not.
Right. And again, it's just knowing how to balance it. At the end of the week, are your macros where they should be? Is your protein or carbs or fat where they should be at the end of the week? If you know you're going to have one bad meal, balance it with the rest of your days. Make sure that, you're not restricting, but you're balancing the total macronutrients for your body and your activity level.
Good. So it's very confusing, and it will be for the majority of people listening to this. This is why you have a business right now. This is why your business is thriving right now, because you are making it so simple for people to be successful in this subject. So please reach out to Jenny. She's kicking ass with this, making it almost impossible for you to not be successful. The only way that you will not be successful working with Jenny is if you don't do what she asks you to do. Right? It's that simple. And she's not a dictator. She will work with you. And there's so many different options. It's not one size fits all. So reach out to her.
It's not. And it's not always easy. It's not just here, eat this, because everybody is different. But that's why we see our clients on a weekly basis and have options of adjustments that we can make, changes we can make, things to help us. So if it is, if we are struggling with one type of metabolism because of stress. I mean, stress is a huge thing that we deal with all individuals on a daily basis, where they are stressed and have a high cortisol level, and it's very difficult on the metabolism. We'll do all the right things, but their body is not responding because of their stress levels. And so there's ways that we can adjust and work with that to find what's going to stimulate the metabolism. So it isn't always, a flawless, easy thing, but we know that. And that's why we work with our individuals so closely and on a weekly basis, so we can ensure success. Or try to, at least.
Here we go. Yeah. I think that was a great episode, especially leading into the massacre that I'm going to do on these cookies over the next week.
Happy birthday. Then he'll have a week of a reset for his brain.
That was fun. Please keep your questions coming. We love getting your questions. Dr. Berman at bermanpt.com, or you can email Jenny at, which one do you want him to email?
Jenny at bermanwellness.com.
Yep. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Share this podcast with somebody that you know that eats sugar, oatmeal, and peanut butter toast for breakfast. Please do that.
Have a great Monday.
See you guys.
Thank you for subscribing on your social media and podcast platforms to the Berman Method. Dr. Jake Berman with Berman Physical Therapy and Jenni Berman, Physician Assistant with Berman Health Wellness. You can find more information on our website, www.bermanpt.com for physical therapy, bermanpt.com/wellness for the health and wellness. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and on your podcast platform. So be sure to follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And if you would like any further information, definitely visit our website and reach out to us. You may also find our free reports on the websites as well, where you can download this free information for yourself. Have a great day.